Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Super Action Statue JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Crazy Diamond. Now you guys probably saw in my haul video where I got this guy, which I'm just borrowing by the way for the review. I said I didn't know his name, even though it's right on the package. I didn't know that was his name. I thought that was like a series or a season of the show, because I didn't think Crazy Diamond was a name. Because I'm not into JoJo's, but maybe I will be someday and I'll learn that. But anyway, this is a really cool character design. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of having hearts built into it because he's really cool looking otherwise, and that kind of takes it away. But it also adds a little something, so I can see the appeal. That said, what is on him that is cool is really cool, so I'm very happy to show you guys this figure. And the one thing that the Super Action Statue figures have is really nice style. They always have this really cool aesthetic to them, and that's mostly due to the fact that they have very unique sculpts and they have really intricate paint jobs. Now sometimes we're just a lot of shading, like this guy is basically just the two colors with shading, but we'll look at some of the closer details in a second and you'll see that they really nail the paint job, so it's a good thing. It's a very cool looking figure with some cool accessories, so let's take him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, so this guy stands roughly 6 3/4 inches tall, so he's got some size to him. These guys are generally taller than your average import. It's about 16.5 centimeters, so right around there. And as I said, he's got a whole lot of really nice shading going on. It's very cool. Now, I'm not sure if this is accurate, but his forearms on both sides are significantly darker than the rest of the pinks. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there or not. It doesn't look bad necessarily, but I'm guessing it's just variation in the shading, because you can see this hand is a lot darker than this hand. So there's a little bit of a QC issue there, but it's not too bad. Now the other thing that the SAS figures are known for is joint issues. As you can see here, the arm's a little floppy. It's not the best situation there. And then the legs are often stiff. This one in particular, his forearm, I cannot rotate the forearm, so since it's not my figure, I can't really mess with it too much, but be aware that the SAS figures do often have stuck joints or loose joints, which is why I've stopped using them for customizing, as a matter of fact. But they're still really cool looking figures. As you can see back here, we have all these little tendrils, which are nice soft plastic, so you can still pose him nicely, and it just looks really cool. Alright, so let's look at the accessories real quick before we talk about the figure anymore. And the first thing I want to show you is his alternate head. So let's take a look at the head he comes with first. It's a very nice head sculpt. I like the way that the black offsets the eyes and they look really cool, and then that silver in there has that really nice black paint job for the details. And this head is basically the same, other than he's got an open mouth. Still very cool looking, and if you didn't notice, the head is shaped like a heart, so that ties into the character design as well. Now he has a bunch of different hands. You can see he has fist hands from the packaging, so you definitely get your fist hands. You get a bunch of different style pose hands, as is common for the SAS figures. So here are two of them. We have one that's just a finger pointing, and this one is just a general, I can do whatever I want hand, because it's a style pose hand. It lets you do whatever you want. You get the same thing for the other sides as well, so you can do it on both sides if you want to. You get two more style pose hands, again for either side. You can see they're mostly really well painted. They're not perfect, but they do have a lot of paintwork on there, so that's pretty good. And then we have this hand, which is, I'm not entirely sure what it is hand. It could be for holding something, except we have another hand for that, so I don't know exactly, but you can figure that out on your own. We have this hand, which has him holding a little ball bearing, which is permanently in there, by the way, because if it was loose, you'd probably lose it, but you do get that. And then you get this hand, which is meant for holding stuff. And the stuff it's meant for holding is in this little baggie. And I'm not sure if I want to open this because I'm really afraid I'll lose it. And it's not my figure, so I can't risk that. But you get this little clear heart with these little red specks on it, and that's how it's supposed to look. And you get what looks to be a .50 caliber rifle round, which is really nicely detailed. I might take these out to do the photos, but I don't know. I can't risk it. They're super tiny, but it's really cool that they're included. And the last accessory is the display stand, which it's kind of strange because unless he's just missing the parts, the person that sent this to me, you get the display stand, the regular base, and you get the upright, which is basically what you guys would be familiar with. And then you get the upright for this, accessory. So you can only use one at a time. You can either put this up or you can put the figure up. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the case, But either way, this is a really cool piece. I love the way they did that really clean black paint job on there. Looks very, very nice. And that's just got an acrylic upright. I guess you could put it either way, but I'm not sure why you would want to do that. But there you go. Those are your accessories. So let's go through the articulation, and then we'll call it a wrap. So this guy, all of the JoJo's figures, or at least most of them, have a hinged ball peg for the neck, which usually works pretty well. As you can see, the head can look up, it can look down, and then you can move the head around on that peg. You can lean it from side to side a little bit, rotate it, no problem at all. And the neck is usually just a single ball peg. His is a little stiff. It's not so much limited by these, but it is a little bit stiff. Sometimes there's a hinge in there. This one feels like it's just a standard ball peg. We have a standard ball hinge for the shoulder, so it pegs into the torso and then into the arm. So you get your bicep swivel out of there and you can rotate the arm around. However, it's very limited going up and down due to the shoulder pad. You have a double ball hinge for the elbow. So you have a ball hinge here and a ball hinge here. A peg going into the bicep and a peg going into the forearm. They can hinge in both places, and they can generally rotate around at either spot also, and that's why this one is rotated sideways. It just happens to be stuck. But you get pretty good range of motion out of them normally. His seems to be a little bit more limited due to his bulkier armor plating, but it's not too bad. You at least get 90 degrees out of it, and you could probably force it for a little bit more. And you get a ball hinge for the wrist also, so just like SH Figure Arts. Now his torso should be a double ball peg from the lower torso to the upper torso, but it's really limited on this guy due to the sculpt. Very, very boxed in there, so that's not great. We do get an ab crunch, which is nice. I like that they include both joints on these guys, and normally they work pretty well, and his ab crunch is no different. It's not too bad. And you get a waist twist in there, so the full spectrum of torso articulation all in one figure. You have your standard ball hinge hips. However, the way they do it, it is kind of like just a single ball that's cut in half, and one part swivels and one part stays in place. So it's not the three-part hinge that we're used to, which is not great, and hopefully you can see inside the hip. It's not, it doesn't look good. You can see the two pieces separate as you spin it, and it's not great, and they often get really loose. These guys are on little tiny ball pegs, but they still really get in the way of posability, so don't expect that to work out too well. You can bring the leg all the way forward, no problem, so that's a pretty good option there. The legs do often sit rather far apart on these guys. I suppose that's due to the source material, but be aware if you're not super familiar with them, you're going to get a lot of thigh gap on your action figures. We have a thigh swivel. Sometimes it's stuck, sometimes it's not, but this one seems to work pretty well, so that's good. We have our thigh swivel there. Double jointed knees. They work just like the elbows, except the bottom part of the knee is not a ball. It's just a fixed hinge, so it won't rotate down here, but it will rotate at the top. And then for the ankles, it's just like the wrist. We have our standard ball hinge. However, his is fairly limited just due to the sculpt. We do get a toe hinge on this guy, and it works pretty well. So all in all, it's a decent figure. A lot of the articulation is troublesome, so don't expect it to be great, but it's definitely going to look good once you get it posed and put on a shelf. So I do recommend it. Just have some reservations so you're not too excited for it and then get disappointed once you buy it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.